What is going on, everyone? What is going on? Welcome to this week's episode of the STS Guys, episode 66. I am Jeremy.
Hey, it's Larry.
Hey, guys, it's Nate.
I'm Scott.
And we are the STS Guys, a weekly podcast where we sit around, shoot the shit, and talk about anything geeky, nerdy, and cool. What is going on this week, guys?
Wait, can I just say, it has been a week?
It's been a week, guys.
Yay!
You can say that, but here's the thing. I think the funniest thing that we need to let everybody know is we literally just saw each other not less than an hour ago.
Yeah, we were all out at dinner.
We were out at the dinner.
Yep. Official STS Guys plus friends celebration dinner.
So you're talking about friends and affiliates, right?
Yeah. Oh.
Ooh. Friends and affiliates.
Speaking of affiliates, Scott knows where I was going with that. I said, if you haven't checked out ShoeMeStore.com, make sure to check out ShoeMeStore.com. You want that new Funko Pop? You want to save yourself 10%? Use code STS Guys at checkout. Get some pop protectors, get some pops. ShoeMeStore.com, and then use code STS Guys to save yourself 10%.
And just so you know, it does work on pre-orders.
It does. And they have those really awesome new Toy Story pops up for pre-order. And Shoe does a mint box guarantee. So if you're worried about your pops getting damaged, don't worry about that with Shoe. Like, not only do they do the guarantee, they ship it to you in a nice soft protector. So probably won't get damaged, but if it does, Shoe will hook you up. ShoeMeStore.com.
ShoeMeStore.com.
Code STS Guys.
We shield early.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Gotta get that out there so people know about it at least.
It's awesome.
It is awesome.
Yeah. Who doesn't want to save 10% on anything?
That and I like it was a perfect place like friends and affiliates. Hey, I can sneak this in.
Yeah.
You know what? You got to sneak them in when you can.
Yep.
Shout out to the guys in the chat that are waiting for us. Regional Arrow 36 and Travis Moore. Thanks for joining. Glad to have you.
So, hey, Travis Moore was basically he was the second recipient of one of our shirts. So
Nice.
he's actually been sporting an STS Guys shirt.
Nice.
Is that
I'd
one
like
of the?
to see that.
When you say the second, is that the new ones that we have?
The new ones on Amazon.
Oh, nice.
So we
Nice.
do have official merch on Amazon.com.
Like reasonably priced official merch too.
Yes.
Yeah, where else can you get a T-shirt of your favorite podcast for $13? Prime to your house.
Yeah,
I'm
it
not
qualifies for Prime. That's what's important to remember.
Yeah, I am not gonna lie though. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, that smile.
Yeah.
What are you gonna say, Scott?
Here's where I'm gonna be the shirt. The favorite podcast. How about just a shirt for a podcast?
Hey, you know what?
You're selling it short, Scott.
Hey man, whether we're your favorite, you're in your top 5, in your top 10, whatever, like buy a shirt. It's like $12, man.
Yeah.
Go buy a shirt.
Travis says he uses his shirt during cooldowns and he loves it. Thanks, Travis.
Nice. There you go. Cool down approved.
Yeah.
Down approved.
Is cooldown like sitting on the couch playing games? Is that a cooldown, or like maybe a cooldown after a workout?
Like post work. I'm thinking it's post workout. I'm gonna assume. But I will say this too, though. There will be new shirts coming. I need to work with Larry here because he's our Photoshop master, so that we can get a couple new designs. So we will have additional STS Guys shirts in the near future.
Sweet. Super easy to find too. There's a link on the website, stsguys.com, or just search the STS Guys on Amazon and it pops right up.
Swag. Get some swag.
Awesome.
Hey.
Speaking of swag, if anyone's going to Ace Comic-Con next weekend, the STS Guys, these 3/4 of the STS Guys will be on hand. But if you see us, say hi. Got high fives. I think we all got a couple stickers, some pins left too. You won't go home empty-handed.
We have something for people that will actually recognize us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. You guys, if you are there, please say hello. We'd love to see you.
No, you guys are going to be bringing so much awesome coverage from Ace Comic-Con. I sadly am going to miss it, but I'm excited to see what coverage you're going to bring from that convention.
Well, you know, you'll be traveling, but you can follow along just like you're at the convention if you follow us on Instagram at STS Guys.
We posted a lot in our story.
Yeah, we'll be posting stuff up, and then hopefully there'll be some video content too.
Hey, I'll probably also be following you on Facebook at the STS Guys.
Why not on Twitter as well at STS Guys?
Just search for fucking STS Guys on anything. It'll show up.
You can go to STS
Well,
Guys
you
online.
can follow us on Google by searching the STS Guys.
Find Scott on Grindr by searching for STS Guys.
That was an amazing.
You said anyway.
We're doing a lot of chilling here.
And first off, it's STS Guys #1, by the way.
Nice.
Regional Arrow says, why did you make the name STS Guys? Well, it actually stands for Shoot the Shit Guys, and we like to shoot the shit, as we have been for the last 6 minutes.
Because as you can tell, none of this shit is planned out.
No, never. But you know what? That's what makes it fun and entertaining. At least for me, anyways.
I think that's when we're at our best. Is when
I
it's
enjoy
super
it.
random.
Yeah. It's kind of like improvisation, you know? We kind of just go with the flow.
Yeah.
It's very true. But you know what? Sometimes we do have planned topics, don't we, Larry?
We do. Sometimes we come up with some crazy ideas or borrow ideas from other people we admire. The last month or so, I've been listening to this other podcast called Get Up on This. Apparently, they've been around for like 375 episodes or something crazy like that. So they've been around forever. But they just recently got rebooted with 2 new hosts. So now it's 2 girls, used to be 2 guys. It's Allie Siegel and Aaron Mallory Long. They host Get Up on This. And what the premise is, each week they have a special guest on, and everybody names 2 things, 2 recommendations that other people should get up on. So like apps, podcasts, video games, TV shows, movies, you know, whatever, like pop culture-y stuff, all the stuff that we like. And they just put out recommendations like, hey, I saw this, thought you guys would like it. Check it out. So they do those, and then they do one thing that they're laid up on. So, right, maybe like a TV show that you just found out about that's been around forever, or a podcast that you just found out about that's been around forever. My example, Get Up on This, is totally something I'm late on. So that could have been my late on for this episode. But I thought it'd be fun if we just went around and just did our own version of Get Up on This. If you enjoy it, I highly recommend checking out the official Get Up on This podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, I did drop a link to their Earwolf. So support them. Check it out. It's awesome. I also think I just kind of discovered like a new genre of podcasting, right? There's cover bands. There's tribute bands. We're doing I'm going to say the first ever tribute podcast to Get Up on This.
What? So, tribute podcasting. I like it.
Larry's always coming up with the good ideas, creative, thinking outside the box. I'm all for it. Cool. Get up on this.
All right. So we'll go around. I will start since it was my idea, right? So my first Get Up on is going to be the TV show that I've been watching for the past like 2 weeks called Good Girls. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it is a crime comedy drama television series on NBC. It's also on Netflix. It's pretty good. It stars Christina Hendricks, Mae Whitman, and my favorite, Retta, who played Donna on Parks and Rec. So yeah, I don't know if you've seen it. Like our friend Stacy actually told me about it a couple weeks ago, and it popped up on my Netflix. Hey, you might want to watch this feed. And I'm like, you know what? Stacy said it was good. I'm going to check it out. So shout out to Stacy because she was right. There's only 10 episodes in season 1. I'm on episode 8, but it's really good. The premise is there's these 3 moms, right? Just like middle-aged ladies who need some money for different reasons. So they decide to rob the grocery store. So they rob the grocery store, end up getting a whole lot of money, which actually belongs to a drug dealer. And they just basically turn to a life of crime because they're kind of addicted to getting all this money. And there's all these schemes and different ways that they're trying to get the money. They bring in other moms into kind of make part of their group. But kind of like typical sitcom style, something always goes wrong and they find themselves like in a pickle. So you got to figure that, right? They got to try to work their way out of the trouble. So I don't know. Have any of you guys watched it at all or even heard of it?
I've heard of it, but I have not seen anything on it.
Yeah, it's definitely worth checking out. Season 2 drops in a couple weeks, March 3rd. I'm guessing that'll just be on NBC. But like I said, for season 1's on Netflix, 10 episodes. It's one of those shows, like you guys know, I like the ones that I can just sit down and kind of knock out really quick and not have to pay super close attention to. It's one of those. It's just a good, fun show.
Nice.
I
recommendation.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah, I think you'd like it. So that is my first get up on. Let's go alphabetical order after B. What do you got, Jeremy?
All right, so I started this show. I said this TV show. It's a Netflix original. Originally, I watched one episode, but then I stopped watching it originally when it came out, and then I just barely picked it up again this week, and I binged through probably 5 seasons in a week. So what I'm talking about is The Ranch on Netflix. I don't have you guys seen that at all?
Good old Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah. And Danny Masterson, right?
And
it was
Danny
that 70s shows reunion. I watched I watched episode 2 when you told me about it.
I was gonna say until it is. Answer me this, Jeremy, because I know that there are some issues with him. How was that exit handled, or did that even happen?
What
on the ranch?
He had some Me Too stuff going on.
Some hashtag Me Too stuff.
It's not impacted on the show.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't even address it.
So I knew that they were considering it, but I don't know if they.
I think he's still on it. Yeah, they decided it was okay.
But I think it's basically. I think the way. I think the reason I like it so much is because it's got a lot of that 70. I really liked that 70 show when it was on. It's got a lot of that type of vibe, but like in a Western setting, but then unedited too. So they can actually cuss and do all sorts of stuff, which just adds, like I said, a whole different element to the show. And I think, and then it's also fun to see them actually kind of run through and run into different characters from that 70s show. Like, Kitty the mom plays a character on the show.
That's awesome.
Red Foreman plays another rancher on the show. Like there's Fez popped up as an illegal immigrant. Like I said, there's different aspects and there's different characters that pop up from that 70s show on this show, which it basically actually makes it entertaining.
Yeah, I love that 70s show. I didn't know that, but that sounds awesome. I watched like 3 or 4 episodes. I'll have to get back into it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Well, then, Larry, I said you'll appreciate this too. Since it's a Netflix original show, a lot of the quotes that they do in the show are actually quotes of Netflix original shows. So they quote Fuller House multiple times throughout the seasons.
All right, nice. I appreciate that.
They get that free range to go into any of the other shows.
Yeah, so I literally I watched this years ago. So about a couple of years ago when it first came out, I watched a couple episodes, and maybe I just wasn't the right frame of mind at that point in time. But I picked it back up again, and then I said I've been addicted ever since. So definitely check out The Ranch on Netflix.
Awesome. Great get up on.
I've heard you talk about that before. I'll have to check that out.
Can we please change that phrase?
Get up on this, man.
No. Get up on this, everybody.
No, not on the ranch. On this. I'm saying, please don't say great get up on.
Great get up on. Do you have a great get up on?
I do. So this is kind of a similar situation like Jeremy. This is a show that I watched like an episode of. I thought it was cool, but I don't know, at the time I just wasn't interested. But then I rediscovered recently, and I'm really liking it. I'm talking about One Punch Man. I'm a big fan of animes. I know Scott likes the show too. But I've been watching a lot of Dragon Ball Super, and I've been wanting to find another good anime. And Scott and my friend Chris has been telling me a lot about how good One Punch Man is. So I thought I'd give it another shot, and I'm really happy that I did because it's actually a really good show. It's a funny anime, which is a little unexpected because most animes, don't have a lot of comedy to them. But this one's really cool because it's about a guy who's basically the most powerful superhero in the world. He's trained himself to be extremely strong, and he's got basically this one punch attack that can kill anybody. So he becomes bored because there's really nobody that can challenge him. So it's kind of a funny story because you get to see him encounter these villains that look massive and scary, and you think he's going to have this nasty fight with, but then he just kills them in one punch and basically obliterates them. It's a really good show. He gets like a sidekick at some point named Genos, and he's on his own kind of quest to go after another cyborg that killed his family. and it just gets better and better from there. So I definitely recommend it. It's a really, really good show.
Yep. Yeah. So no, Travis is bringing in his the training regimen of 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and a 10K run every morning.
Yeah.
Make sure to have a banana for breakfast, and never ever turn on the air conditioner.
Yeah, and the best part is
how he got that strong.
He's so casual about it. Like, he just doesn't care. He'll walk up to a villain and just be like, "All right, let's get this over with." And the villain's just like, "What? How dare you?"
The best part of it is it kind of came about because of the shonen shows where you have like Naruto and Dragon Ball, where they have these long drawn out fights and everyone's always equally matched, and then somehow gets way stronger, and all the other characters in the show kind of still follow around in that same trope, except for Saitama, the One Punch Man, who kind of breaks every trope and is really made to be that hero that can do, it basically can solve any problem, and it's just kind of his life. It's a very good comedy, and not only that, it has some really great fights. I do highly recommend it as well.
Yeah, it's definitely a different pace. Like Scott said, I'm really used to Dragon Ball Z and Super, where there's a fight that's pretty equally matched. Something happens, it changes, somebody gets more powerful. This is a whole lot different because he's already the most powerful being, and he's just kind of struggling with his own depression of knowing that. But yeah, get up on this. One Punch Man.
If you have Hulu, the English dub just dropped recently for it. So,
and they had the whole first season on Netflix as well.
Mm-hmm. Nice. I've heard good things. I've never watched it, but I'm not really into anime. But that's been one that I've been tempted to try to get into.
Yes, I will say I will also endorse Nate's get up on this.
Well, great get up on, guys.
Great get up on. Great get up on.
Scott, what do you got, buddy?
I got a great hashtag. Me too.
What are you gonna get up on, Scott?
So this is something I know. Jeremy and I had really enjoyed this. A new season of it's coming out soon, and it's something I highly recommend. Is Future Man on Hulu?
Yes.
Super great raunchy comedy. It's basically the premise of, what if you were like a pretty big loser but very good at video games, and find out that one of the games that you mastered actually is a training simulator to make you the savior of the world, but you're basically an incompetent boob. And there's a bunch of time travel little things, and actually has kind of the whole time travel aspects of it. It's probably one of the funniest action comedies that I've seen in a very long time, and it actually does not shy away on adult humor and the ideas of sex and things like that. Like, Hulu let them kind of go with that rated R comedy, and it is phenomenal. I don't want to say too much about it because it kind of gives away a lot of the story if you try to get anything, but I do highly recommend giving it a watch. I think either late January or early February, the second season drops, so you have plenty of time to watch the first season. I think it's like 10 or 12 episodes, something like that. Definitely give it a watch, and wait for that second season and watch that second season, because I'm curious as to where they go with it.
Yeah, no, Scott, you're totally right. Like I said, I had heard about the show from you, and I ended up watching it, when upon your recommendation, and I fell in love with that show. Like, it's so funny and witty, and like I said, just the situations they get in. I'm super happy that they basically announced the second season, and that's going to be dropping here at the end of the month.
So it also does surprisingly, the loser of the show is Josh Hutcherson. Peter Malloy from Malark. Yeah, I don't watch those things, but from the
yeah, you do. Don't lie. Me and you saw the last one together.
Well, yeah, I've seen one out of them. We did that for a work function. First of all, fucker, like, we didn't willingly go to that. That was the other people in our office that wanted to go. So don't lie. Like, we actually watched any of that movie. We made fun of that shit the entire time.
We did. But
yes, so yeah, from those, I want to say To Kill a Mockingbird, but that's not what it is. The
Hunger Games.
Hunger Games. Josh Hutcherson from the Hunger Games.
Kill a Mockingbird.
She's like the Mockingjay or some shit like that.
I get it.
So,
but for a second, I had no idea where you were going.
Yeah, I don't even know where I'm going half the time. I just talk.
Well, I'm actually glad you guys brought up Future Man, because that's a show that I've been seeing a lot about, probably because they're, promoting the next season, but I didn't really know about before now. So getting your recommendation, I'm going to check that out.
It's super funny. Like
it's super funny. You kind of have, I'll say this, it's kind of post-apocalyptic people come back to modern times, and Josh Hutcherson basically, they want to be, it's kind of like a Terminator, right? They're trying to come back to prevent their future from happening, and they have a very incompetent person trying to help them, whose only real skill is that he's good at this video game that they created to find him. Like, the premise is hilarious, and the fact that they kind of travel through time multiple times and change things makes it even better. Like, you never know where they're going to go with things and what happens with the show, and it took some turns. I know Jeremy and I talked about it before. It's taken a couple of turns that you're like, I did not think that was going to happen, and kind of moving in from that. Like, I don't want to say too much because every little bit of it could spoil part of the show. But it's super good. I cannot recommend it enough for anybody who wants that rated R, like, raunchy comedy. Watch Future Man.
Get up on this.
Get up on Future Man. Get up on this. Get up on that future guy.
Get up on this. All right, Larry, where are we going next?
Jeremy, what do you got, Jeremy?
Oh, we're doing TV shows again?
No, I did Jeremy. No, Larry. All right, so for my second get up on this, I actually have a podcast. It was kind of funny how we all did TV shows. I hope we don't all do podcasts for round 2.
I thought that's what we were doing.
That was the
yeah. So I was like, we're on TV shows. All right,
no,
my TV show.
No, it literally could be anything. Like, I was gonna do a food. I was gonna do jalapeno cream cheese because I really like jalapeno cream cheese. But I decided I should bring it back in, and I'm gonna do a podcast. So my second get up on this is the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast. If you don't know, WWE superstar Zack Ryder and WWE superstar Kurt Hawkins have their own podcast that they started a couple months back, where they talk about wrestling action figures. They're both super big into wrestling figs, and Zack Ryder throws out some crazy money on this stuff. Like he bought a Doink the Clown prototype like a couple weeks ago for like $3,000, right? He's got some deep pockets, so they're always buying really cool.
Yeah, nothing that he had. That's not a lot of money for him. He's WWE superstar Zack Ryder. I'm sure they're probably giving him some stuff.
Yeah. Oh no, this was an eBay win. So, right, like he's part of the Mattel's Elite Squad. I don't know what that means exactly, but I think it just means he gets a bunch of free stuff. But yeah, it's cool. Like they buy a bunch of stuff. They just reminisce about like crazy figures that shouldn't have got made, right? Because there's always those weird figures that get produced and stuff. Like the head sculpt might look weird or something. But like when I was little, I had a bunch of the LJN WWF figures, and I had some of those Hasbros. They talk a lot about the old stuff too, as well as the new stuff. It's just like, I don't collect that stuff now. I just kind of dumb lucked into being a Zack Ryder Super Mega fan, so I checked it out. But it's a really good podcast if you just like collecting stuff. It's just cool to hear like these kind of athlete type guys telling stories about how like when they were teenagers they were stashing stuff at the Toys R Us. Like it's just a fun collectible podcast if you're into collecting stuff. Like I know all of us are.
Yeah, that's nothing is funnier than huge buff guys talking about collecting little toys and action figures and their love of that.
Yeah, it's really funny to hear like Zack Ryder just nerd out about figures and the things he's done to get figures. It just, you wouldn't like, they just, right, it's this big buff cool dude, you just wouldn't think that he's in his room. They had their own like wrestling federations where they wrote down like the the title cards on like a sheet of paper and acted out the pay-per-views in their room, like as teenagers and stuff. Like they're probably way too old to be doing that stuff. Dogs.
I'm saying I still do that to this day.
Do you? Is that what you did with that Scotty 2 Hottie figure I got you?
What? Yeah. Like, what else would I do with that Scotty 2 Hottie figure?
You're making me want to watch this or listen to this podcast now.
Yeah, honestly, again, because you like action figures and stuff, it's an interesting listen, man. They just did one on Christmas. There's like the complete history of the Hasbro figures that are out in like the mid '90s. There's a whole bunch of waves, a whole bunch of variation stuff, but it's kind of like right. It's just the super episode that if you ever want to know anything about those figures, you hear it. They're really interesting guys too, right? They're well spoken in that. So yeah. So my second get up on is the Major Wrestling Figure Podcast.
I'm gonna get up on that.
Get up on that.
Great. All right, Nate, what do you got for number 2?
Number 2, I think
we're not going ABC anymore.
Oh,
I think Jeremy's number 2.
Hey, this is why I don't let Jeremy direct the podcast.
Larry.
I'm not this guy.
Real good alphabetical order there, bud.
Go, Jeremy, go.
Go, Jeremy.
It looks like Larry's had a little too much of Kirkland water.
Yeah.
Kirkland water.
I'm getting a little drunk on it myself.
Yeah. That wife replenished my my stock here today. So
well done.
So my second get up on my second get up on this is actually so since I'm gonna mix it up so I don't do another podcast. I had another podcast in mind, but I'll say that for another time. Is none other than a beer. I said, and the specific beer is the Tangerine Express IPA. So by Stone Brewing. Typically, I said I don't like the fruity IPAs, but this one has some really good flavor notes in it. That just it's basically mixing kind of like almost kind of like my favorite beer with my favorite style of beer. So I really like Blue Moon and kind of like the citrus flavors of a Blue Moon. But I also really like IPAs, like so the kind of like the hoppiness of an IPA. So this is probably almost mixing. If I could take a Blue Moon and make it an IPA, this is exactly what it would be.
Nice.
It's delicious. It's amazing. Like I said, they come in little 6-packs that you can grab at the store, typically for like around like $10, $12 for a 6-pack, since it is a microbrewery. But it is quite delicious.
What's it called again?
It is Tangerine Express IPA by Stone Brewing Company. Which,
hey, next time we were down in San Diego for Comic-Con, Stone is out of San Diego, so we can go check them out.
Speaking my language here, Jeremy, I love IPAs.
Yeah,
I gotta give that a try.
Quite delicious, so you definitely give it a try.
Yum yum.
Great get up on. Way to mix it up on the STS Guys version of a get up on this. Let's see. J, then N. Nate, what do you got?
Yes. Nice job, Larry.
Good job, Larry.
All right. So get up on this for me is going to be the SH Figure Arts Avengers Infinity War Hulk. I just got this figure and I actually did an unboxing of him. So if you guys want to see what I think about this figure and what he comes with, please check it out. I've actually been wanting to go get a Hulk figure for a long time. And Mezco did their own Hulk. It's like a Ragnarok Hulk. But from what I've seen, it's not very well articulated. He's a little small. And he's specific to that Ragnarok movie. So I decided to go with this one. I wanted the comic version of Hulk. And he comes with a screaming head, which is really cool. And then he also comes with a stern face.
So then, Nate, you have to show off the thing that I think is the best, is the double jointed shoulders.
Oh yeah,
I think that's the greatest part of that figure that you show.
Yeah, he's got these butterfly joints in the back, and so you can push his arms like really far forward. So you can he can actually flex is what the coolest thing is. Like, did you break something? His hand off.
Oh no, Nate, you broke your toy.
You're trying to do it like upside down, and it's just difficult to do. But yeah,
it's a really cool figure.
Gets you an idea of. He looks awesome.
Nate, do you have another figure like close by where is that to scale with some of the other figures, like where that Hulk figure is bigger?
Yeah. I've got actually here. This is like a way smaller figure. So this is a synthetic human.
Oh yeah, perfect. Yeah.
You can see how big the Hulk is. This is more, so they're both Japanese scale. The Hulk's probably about 8.25 inches tall, and a normal Mezco is like 6.5, so he towers over most other figures.
In Nate's video, he has it next to one of his other 112 figures, and you can see kind of the height difference. He's got at least an inch on top of some of the other bigger characters.
Yeah, so I compared him against the Mezco Iron Man and then the Marvel Legends Spider-Man, and he's bigger than those, but he should be, he's Hulk. He should be a tall, menacing, huge figure.
Cool.
So
I really like
get
that
a
figure, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. And if you guys, like I said, I did an unboxing video I posted earlier today. So if you're interested in the figure, it's really awesome. I think you should get up on it.
Aha, well
That is
done.
a great get up on this.
That is a
Great.
great get up on.
All right, so and then S. What do you guys got?
Yay! Okay, so to kind of break the mold here, this I've told Jeremy about this before as a thing, but this is the perfect time to kind of talk to everybody about it. It's a YouTube channel. It is called Because Science. As most people know, I'm a huge nerd and I really like kind of sciencey shit. Because Science is a channel that they take ideas of like superpowers and different things in pop culture and movies and TV and kind of look at it scientifically and see like, hey, why do you not want to actually have like super strength? Or if you have super speed, they ignore this whole fact that there's like, what happens if there's a bug in the way? Like going at that speed, it would go right through you. Like they actually explain things in using real world physics. Yeah, Larry, I think you just posted the channel up here. It's a super cool thing. It actually looks at like how our current understanding of physics and science and everything would be able to explain superpowers and different aspects of science, and kind of relating that back. And there's some of the stuff that you think is ridiculous, but they're like, actually, that's actually pretty scientifically accurate or not. Like, and it's an awesome channel. The Kyle, the guy who does the show, is super entertaining to watch. They do a lot of stuff on screen. They actually do footnotes after every kind of episode. If they mess up on the math or something, like they'll actually do footnotes to walk through extra aspects of it that they didn't talk about. Super cool channel. If you like science or you like nerdy shit and kind of how that would actually work in real life, it's a really cool channel.
It's awesome. I love nerdy stuff like that. I always liked Bill Nye the Science Guy when I was younger. And it sounds like kind of a more adult version, maybe.
It's an adult version of that talks about like Marvel comics and video games and movies and uses that to relate back to like scientific principles for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I will
that's
have
really
to
cool.
pick up on that.
Yeah, it's something cool.
I just subbed, so I will be getting up on that too. And if you want to get up on it too, I dropped a link in the chat.
Yeah, it's a cool person. He actually, the guy who runs that channel is the host for the Find the New Mythbusters show on Discovery Channel as well. So a person that's super into the science community and everything. Super funny. I highly recommend going and checking him out.
Awesome. That I like it, dude. That was good. A little different too, YouTube channel. So well done. So that completes the get up on this portion of the show. So the last third is going to be late on. So like stuff that has been around forever and for whatever reason, we've just totally missed it. So my late on is a television show that Jeremy, like 2 or 3 weeks ago, was like, dude, you totally need to watch the Goldbergs. So I totally watched the Goldbergs, and that's pretty much all I've been watching, aside from a little bit of Good Girls. That's all I've really been watching for the last like 2 or 3 weeks. It's on season 6. I don't know where I've been for the last like 6 years, because like if you haven't watched the Goldbergs, it's an amazing show. It's like a family sitcom that takes place in the 80s, and it's really just like a family, right? It's family themes, but like each episode's focused on a different type of like 80s pop culture. Like they had one episode that was kind of based on the Goonies, and then one about the Beastie Boys, Ghostbusters, pretty much Double Dare. I just watched the Double Dare episode where Double Dare comes to their school and has tryouts in the cafeteria or in the gym. It's really, really awesome. I think my favorite episode so far is the one where the brothers, the little brother Adam and big brother Barry, like decide to make their own Beastie Boys group. Right. So they're like, we're going to become rappers. It's going to be awesome. We're just going to dress like the Beastie Boys and be exactly like them. They call themselves the Tasty Boys. It kind of inspired me to do a little rapping. So I just thought I'd drop a little freestyle right now.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
So here we go. Just off the top of my head. My name is Larry and my rhymes are scary. There we go.
You got it.
Well done, me. Totally original and not stolen from the Goldbergs.
That is awesome, Larry.
Yeah. So I don't know. What do you think, Jeremy? What's one of your favorite episodes, man?
Favorites of the Goldberg. Oh man, that's hard. Honestly, probably one of my favorites is a tie between the Goonies episode that they have, just because his brother and sister trick him into basically finding Goonies treasure. I like that. But then honestly, probably my absolute favorite one is the one that where him and his sister are excited to come out to see because Return of the Jedi is out in the theater. And so basically they do this whole setup to try to basically wait in line for Return of the Jedi. So I like that episode too.
Yeah, that one is good too. Kind of good brother-sister moments and stuff. Yeah. Like I said, it's a really good family show, family themes about, the mom's a little overbearing and loves her kids a little bit too much. The dad drops his pants at the door every day. Like, it's just the quirky kind of family stuff. But I'm really into it. Like, I haven't enjoyed a show this much since I was late on Parks and Rec. So I feel like this is the Parks and Rec for 2018, 2019 for me. Like I said, I only started a couple weeks ago. We're already wrapping up season 3. So I'm excited to knock out the next 3 seasons, man. See what they got coming up next.
Are you going to watch the sequel that follows the sister in the 90s?
Yeah, apparently Jeremy was telling me about that today at dinner. I don't know what it's all about, but sure. As soon as I'm done, like, I'm all in. I really like. I feel like if we were to sit down and make like an 80s sitcom, it would essentially be the Goldbergs. I just really like the idea how they're just able to integrate all these pop culture stuff, like all the stuff that I'm into a TV show that actually makes sense and flows good. It's really well done.
Yeah, just the references alone has me wanting to go check it out.
Yeah, you haven't watched it, Nate? Dude,
no.
Yeah, I think it's on Hulu.
List. Yeah.
Yeah, you haven't watched it either, Scott?
It's on my list, but I haven't gotten a chance to actually start it up yet. So
all right. So my laid up on is like a must laid up on for both of you. Like, I would very rarely say that, but you will love this show. It is amazing. Honestly, it's the whole reason I wanted to do this episode, just so I could sneak in us talking about the Goldbergs without forcing you guys to talk about the Goldbergs.
There you go.
I'm just excited that I have someone else to talk about the Goldbergs with now.
Yeah.
So
mission success, Larry.
So just going through here, I'm looking at the time. Nate, why don't you do your laid up on real quick?
So I guess you can qualify this as a laid up on, because it's a podcast that I discovered after probably their first episode. I discovered them on their second episode. So I wanted to make sure I talked about these guys. It's the DC Figures and Collectibles podcast. Tyler and Scott. I actually got a chance to talk with them last week. I was on episode 5, and we talked about DC Comics, action figures, nostalgia, the things I used to collect when I was younger. They give their top, toy companies, and they do ratings as far as how the companies did for the year. These guys always have somebody from the community, the Instagram toy community, on to kind of talk about themselves. So you can learn more about these people. These are all people that I follow on Instagram. I'm part of that community. So I think it's awesome to see them really promote a lot of people out there and to try to get the word out about toy photography a little bit more. So please go give them a listen. DC Figures and Collectibles podcast. Tyler and Scott are awesome guys, and I'm really happy I was able to join them.
Yeah. Episode 5, if you want to hear Nate. I listened to it. I had never heard of it either till Nate mentioned, right? So I was doing with him on it, of course. He did a really good job, but it was really interesting. Those guys know a whole bunch about figures. I'm not super into action figure photography, but like, just listen to them makes you want to go out and take pictures of your toys and stuff. So it was really cool. Tyler and Scott are really awesome guys. Like they post up a ton of stuff on their Instagram too. So check out that podcast and give them a follow, and you'll find some really cool stuff.
I listened to that as well. I said, and just hearing some of the other people they mentioned in that specific podcast, like for example, like I remember scrolling through, like I said, my Instagram feed, because I follow a couple of people that Nate follows too. Is they're talking about one of the customizers, and one of them made like this custom gray ghost figure. It looks like it's a production figure, and so like I said, they started talking about that on the podcast as well. Like I said, it was you discover. I said that's the nice thing about listening to podcasts is you discover other things by listening to podcasts. So
yeah.
Tyler, go ahead.
I think it's similar to like the major wrestling figure podcast I just talked about, where even if you're not super into it, like I think if you're into collecting and toys and that kind of stuff, like you'll appreciate it just on that surface too. Because I don't really have any Mezco figures or anything, but I just thought it was really cool to hear those guys and hear how passionate they are about that stuff. It's just really cool.
Yeah, and like with Larry, like I listened to it. Obviously, Nate's on it. I'm going to listen to the thing, but listening through it, it was super cool. Like I was way more entertained than I expected I would be, and I don't really collect action figures or anything, but it was still cool to hear what they were talking about and kind of the background, and then to kind of hear how well they like went through like a lot of Nate's stuff. Like, you know, like they definitely care about that community and all the different people that are in it.
Yeah, and they're good guys. They've been super supportive of our podcast too. All right, they follow us on Instagram. They've been retweeting or reposting our stuff and stuff too. So thank you guys. Like I know you've talked to Nate, but if you're listening to this, Jeremy, me and Scott totally appreciate that too. So thank you.
100%. Yes.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys, and thanks you guys as well for listening to the episode. I really appreciate all your support.
No problem. I heard a little something about a meetup at San Diego Comic-Con, and I'm looking for an invite.
Yeah,
Where's my?
You guys are. You're invited.
RSVP card. Come on.
They talked about wanting to do a podcast out there. I think it would be amazing if we could all be a part of it, because I'm sure they would be happy to have us.
Yeah, that would be cool. What did they record their podcast on? Do you know the name of it off the top of your head?
It's Anchor app. So
yeah, Anchor app.
You guys can find them on Anchor. You can find them on Spotify.
I listened on Spotify, and it was really convenient.
I'm pretty sure they're on iTunes as well.
I listened on iTunes, and it was super easy.
Yeah, they're getting on more and more platforms to try to spread the word about who they are. And please go check them out. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Cool.
Get up on that.
Get up on it.
No, late on that. So late up on that. So late up on
yeah.
Get up on that.
Get up, late up. Whatever.
Just a word of warning: if anybody happens to see me disappear, I have to leave a little early. Sorry, guys, but I
say Nate, go now.
Yeah, just go.
Yeah,
let's go now.
Just go.
All right,
bye, Nate.
We all know
thanks, guys.
Go now.
All right, everybody, have a good night. I'll see you later.
You too.
Bye, Nate.
Bye, Nate.
Bye.
So, okay, I have my late on, and
I got a raging late on.
Oh, totally late on.
What? I'm going to get up on that, Scott.
Yes, you will.
So mine is actually a comic book series. I had heard about the series a couple different times, but I'd never, I'll read it at a later point in time. The comic book series I'm talking about is called The Boys. So have you guys ever heard of this at all?
I have not.
I have not either.
So let me tell you the premise. It's a really cool premise of the story. So it kind of takes place in the future to where all the superheroes from the world are gone, but the ones that are left are basically like reckless, and they almost turn into villains. And so what they do is the CIA basically has this squad of superpowered individuals called the Boys. They go in and basically clean up all their messes. So it's an incredibly violent and gory and adult themed comic book. So it's put out by Dynamite Entertainment. Originally,
who are the writers, Jeremy?
Garth Ennis and Garrett Robertson.
Okay, I love anything by Ennis, so I will definitely check it out.
Yeah. So if you like Preacher type stories, like I said, this is from the guy who created Preacher. So
as you say with the boy, you said Garth Ennis. I'm like, and you said it's super gory and violent. Makes sense. Yeah. So this is from the creator who created Preacher. Like I said, it stopped running back in 2012. Like I said, originally it came out in 2006.
So, like I said, it's 13 years old, and I just barely started reading it, and I got hooked from issue 1, and I've been binging through them. So definitely check out The Boys. The first six issues are through Wildstorm. The rest are from Dynamite. So like I said, it's split between publishers for a little bit, but you definitely want to check it out.
Cool.
So I'm just taking a look at it. It looks like there's a couple of forwards by Simon Pegg, so he must have had a little bit to do with it. That's actually really awesome.
Yeah. My Google image search is telling me that there might be a TV show coming out really soon too.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I don't know the specifics, but that sounds cool. So it sounds like something if you want to get up on it, you probably should get up now, right? You want to be the cool hipster millennial guy, like now's the time. Yep, now's the time to jump on it.
I read the comic before it was a TV show, and the comic was much better.
Exactly. Very, very good get up on this, Jeremy.
Well, thank you. I thought it was very fitting.
Yep, I like it. All right, what do you got, Scott?
All right, so my late on is something, actually, I didn't know really what I've been late on, because generally I'm late on everything. But this one is something that it's something I watched a long time ago and kind of forgot about, and Netflix had picked it up, and this was like 4 years ago. They picked it up as a new show, and kind of they've been on constant episodes of it. It's Trailer Park Boys, something that I remember being absolutely hilarious back in the day. Like,
that's been around forever.
It's been around forever, and it's a super funny show. Like, if you like stupid crime or ridiculous kind of premises and things that just don't work out for anybody, and it's a super funny, great show. And I watched it back in the day and then kind of stopped watching it, and it is on Netflix, and they have, I think it was 8 or 7 seasons of their original run, and then Netflix picked it up at season 8, and they've kind of gone on a couple of seasons on Netflix. So I never really watched the Netflix episodes, so I went back and rewatched all the first 7 seasons and then started with the Netflix ones. It still holds up. Like, these are things from like the early 2000s, and a lot of the shit still holds up today. It's a very funny, kind of subtle funny. Like, they don't mean to be as kind of hilarious. It seems like it's kind of unintentional funny stuff. They do a really good job of trying to make it a reality show that just turns out to be funny. I recommend it to anybody. I am very late on catching back up with it and watching those Netflix episodes. They are all very good, and I cannot recommend that show enough.
Now, I've seen several episodes of the Trailer Park Boys. I haven't worked my way through all the seasons, so like I said, you start talking about it again, maybe want to actually go back and start like watching that show again. Just because I said I just remember like freaking Bubbles and like
Bubbles with his whole as an example, Bubbles, the character who's basically makes money by stealing shopping carts from one mall, fixing it up and selling it to another mall, but then goes and steals that mall shopping carts to sell to the other mall. Is it just like shit like that you're like, these characters are off the wall crazy, but you could think like, yeah, these are the type of people that probably could live in a trailer park. And Ricky lives in his car and dropped out of school when he was in like the 9th grade, and you can still tell that that's him, but he is one of the main characters, and it's hilarious to see the kind of trouble they get in because they're low-level criminals that live in a trailer park. Like, it's the stuff that they do, and it's kind of like almost like a reality TV. It's like a film crew, like documentary crew, following them around. So they do acknowledge the fact that there's camera people there, and the camera moves and everything. So it feels like an episode of Cops that's been scripted, and there's an ongoing story arch. So
I've never watched it, but it sounds interesting. I've heard other people say it's good. Yeah. So
it is very vulgar. Of course, coming from me, my suggestion is super vulgar. So
surprise.
It's vulgar. There's a lot of drug references. A lot of stuff they do ends up being clever ways that they try to sell drugs. And it ends up being stupid shit. Like, they get a big They find a way to get a big shipment of vodka, but instead of trying not to get caught, they fill a swimming pool full of vodka. And, somebody falls into it and spills the whole thing out into the lawn. Like, there's these great, like, story arcs that you have in little one-shot episodes. They're super good. It's really funny. I highly recommend going back and checking it out. They recently had like a little like go to the US tour with a bunch of celebrities and stuff. It's super good. I highly, highly recommend the show.
Nice. I like it. Well done, everybody.
I will have to check that out.
I think we threw out some really, really good recommendations. And you know what? That didn't take nearly as long as I thought it would. So well done.
We still have a little bit of time.
Yeah. So as far as the first ever tribute podcast, I think that went well. I'm sure Ali Siegel and Aaron Mallory Long will never listen to the STS Guys, but if they did, I'm sure it'd make them proud.
Do we have one time for like one more recommendation?
Yeah, of course. We've got all night, man. What do you got?
Right, because I wanted to be different earlier, and I didn't want to share another podcast to listen to, but I have another podcast to listen to.
Cool. What do you got? I love podcasts.
You guys already know which podcast I'm going to tell you about.
I do. I know.
You know.
I know exactly which one you're going to recommend.
You know that I listen to it nonstop. I probably listen to it even more than our own podcast, even though I'm on our podcast. And that podcast is Tell 'em Steve Dave.
Tell 'em Steve Dave.
So if you guys don't know what Tell 'em Steve Dave is, it's basically three guys. So it's Brian Quinn from Impractical Jokers, Brian Johnson from Comic Book Man, and Walt Flanagan from Comic Book Men. So the podcast Tell 'em Steve Dave was actually on before there actually was Comic Book Men. It's actually where, like I said, there was actually an episode of Comic Book Men about Tell 'em Steve Dave of how the show Comic Book Men actually came to be, was from this podcast Tell 'em Steve Dave. It's just literally a group of guys getting together, just kind of talking randomly. Like I said, there's not a topic from week to week. They literally just sit down and speak their mind on whatever's going on.
Can I add something into that, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Just like you said, you listen to it more than the show. I'm pretty sure that podcast is the inspiration for why we have the STS Guys, at least from your side of things. Yeah. I'm pretty confident that is one of the reasons why you wanted to start a podcast.
Absolutely. Like, so I actually have a funny story about me listening to this podcast, and Scott, it involves you. So I think you know.
Is it the one where you left it on?
Yeah. So that's where. So I listen to this podcast nonstop. Like I said, I've listened to it for years, and one of these times, I said I was listening to it, and like, man, I said I got called away from my desk, and I think then after that I had to go to the bathroom, whatever. So I had my Bluetooth headphones in, and so once I walked away more than 30 feet. So the office that I was in, I said it was more than 30 feet away, so I left my headphones playing, so it connected just fine. But once I went to the restroom, which was further than 30 feet away, it disconnected my Bluetooth. And then when your Bluetooth is disconnected, it defaults to the speaker on the phone.
Yeah, phone speaker.
What?
It's not.
That makes no sense.
It's not a safe for work podcast.
It's not a safe for work podcast at all.
And so, okay, so look, I will jump in on the story because I was sitting at my desk, which was 2 feet from Jeremy's, and all of a sudden, I just hear, so anyways, that's the time when she fucked that guy in the ass. I was like, wait, what the hell? Like, it was just like this thing coming out of Jeremy's thing, and there's an F-bomb dropping every couple words in the show, and I was scrambling because you can't turn it off without having his phone pass. So I'm just trying to muffle his speaker at some way.
You're pulling the phone out of the wall, man.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know how to shut it off. It keeps going. Like, how do I pause it?
That's amazing.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a podcast to listen to nonstop. Whenever I said listen to Larry too. Like I said, even when I drive all of us to lunch since we all work together sometimes. And when we're in the car, literally the podcast is on. It's either us or Tell 'em Steve Dave. It's one of the two podcasts.
It's true. I've listened to a couple episodes because you've recommended it. It's pretty good. It's one of those things that I probably should spend some more time on, but so I'm sure I'd like it.
Yeah, it's definitely not for the faint of heart, and definitely have your earphones in when you're listening to it. Definitely not for the kiddos.
So that's like your favorite. That's like your favorite podcast. Was that the first one you listened to too?
It wasn't the first podcast I listened to because I said I listened to a lot of like the tech TV and like tech podcasts. Like I said,
okay.
Those were some of my initial ones. This is probably the one that I listened to the most religious. Like I said, as soon as I listened to one episode, I immediately got hooked. And then once I found out that they were doing a show called Comic Book Men that was based upon this show, I said it then went back and forth just because you'd watch the show Comic Book Man on AMC, but then they'd come and talk shit about like their experience on their podcast,
right. Like behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, and how miserable they were, and like then there's like the producer sometimes mistreated Stan Lee, and like it's just all this other stuff that like went on, and it's just like it's almost like hearing an audio version of unedited Comic Book Man. Like I said, it's a great podcast, so check it out.
It's a good behind the scenes in the comic book industry too.
Yeah. Well, you know how you remember like DVD, like TV show seasons on DVD used to come with like commentary, right? And the producers and actors would talk about it. I assume it's kind of like that for the glory days of Comic Book Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Great extra. Get up on this.
Get up on this.
Get up on this.
I like it. So don't forget, we'll be at Ace Comic Con next weekend.
If you're in the Phoenix area and want to go to the con, do go. It is a cool thing. We went last year. We had a good time. Check
out our videos on our YouTube channel, stsguys.online. We did a podcast. We got some other videos, cosplay interviews, that kind of stuff are out there too. So check that out. But like I said before, we'll be throwing some videos up there soon. We'll be doing our podcast live next Saturday night, right after the con. So you get a nice fresh take on our first day, maybe 2 days, because I'm going to try to get out there on Friday.
Maybe second day, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to get out there at least for a little while on Friday, and then we'll all meet up on Saturday. So yeah, it should be awesome. The guest list is legit, right? Tom Hiddleston, Loki is going to be there. Michael Fassbender,
David
Magneto,
Tennant.
David Tennant and Kristen Ritter from Jessica Jones, Charlie Cox.
Taron Egerton, from the Kingsman movies, like up and comer in the kind of action movie scene.
It's that's the one thing Ace is known for, is just bringing the killer guest list, and they did it again. So we're all super stoked that they're coming back to Glendale. So they're coming back. We're going to be there. We'll be posting up pictures all weekend long on our Instagram at STS Guys, all weekend long on our Twitter at STS Guys. And I promise I'll throw at least one picture up on Facebook at the STS Guys. I am Larry from the STS Guys.
Chilling like a villain.
Thank you. Don't forget to go to shumistore.com, enter code STS Guys, and save 10% on your Funko Pops. I like the 10.
10.
I listened to the audio version after. I'm like, I like it. I got to do 10.
10.
I also like how you're doing. I said the hands up jazz hands when you're doing that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's the audio version. So audio version, he's doing jazz hands when he's doing it.
Yeah.
10.
Yeah. If you only listen to audio version, you're listening to all the times I talk with my hands. Because before we did this video podcast thing, I had no idea how much I talk with my hands, but I do. It's my thing.
It's your thing. Get up on that.
Get up on that. Yeah.
Talking with your hands. It's all the cool kids are doing it.
All the cool kids are doing it. So for this week's episode 66 of the STS Guys, I have been Jeremy.
Hey, it's Larry.
And I'm Scott.
And we're the STS Guys. Have a great night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.